personally. I've been really fascinated by learning more about the hormone oxytocin, which hasn't really been something of focus for me because, it's just something you think about as it relates to maybe like pleasure or, love and things of that sort. But it really does play a fascinating role in so many other aspects of the body, and particular like in labor for anyone who might be listening. You have oxytocin receptors. They actually increase the amount of oxytocin receptors that you have tremendously during labor. And it's the oxytocin that's actually what helps with contractions to be able to get the baby out. So you need that oxytocin, and you need a low cortisol state in order to have adequate oxytocin. In order for contractions to happen, you want those contractions because that pain is actually what helps to be able to make more oxytocin. They kind of are this like feedback loop that feed into each other. But it's just fascinating, the role of oxytocin as it relates to non-pregnancy too, and how it influences things like our stress response, our cortisol, our mood, our neurotransmitter levels and such as well. I've also been very fascinated and very into a lot of like the research around mental health disorders and
Mhm.
hormones and nutrition as well. There's a lot of new research that's been coming out about the metabolic reason for things like depression and
Yeah.
schizophrenia and some of these mental health related disorders. And we're just learning more and more about how sensitive the brain is to glucose metabolism, and just the importance of blood sugar control and how much that plays a role in our mood as well, not even just our metabolism and our weight and things of that sort. But what we know about things like Alzheimer's and dementia now is that we call them like type 3 diabetes, because in those
Yeah.
situations, the brain is insulin resistant, and the brain is basically getting starved of energy. And so we can use a different fuel source by providing the body with nutritional ketones to be able to help the brain still have fuel so that there is energy. And we're learning that maybe that's actually the same thing that's happening in situations like depression and schizophrenia, and bipolar as well, that the brain actually is getting starved of energy essentially because of this insulin resistance, and that we
Yeah.
can provide the brain with a secondary fuel source. And so I've been experimenting with that, and trying out different things with my own family members and such, and diving into more of the research on this. And I just think it's a really very interesting emerging field that might show a promising development for individuals that have like treatment resistant depression and things.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where we go with food as medicine
Yeah.
because I think we're actually going back to a lot of information that we've always had in how to properly eat through different seasons for different times in our life in order to create balance within the body. And I'm really excited to hear that, more people are looking at adjusting diets in order to change their mental health because as they say, your food, your mood. Um, and the Mountain Dew isn't going to make you happy. The Mountain Dew is going to keep you in the state. Um, so I'm just really hopeful that we'll learn how to apply this information in ways that can really help people. Because I think it's out there, but it needs to be believed, and the studies need to happen at a broader level for it to be acceptable.
Yeah, and there's so much within it, because oftentimes with that population, a lot of like motivation, or they
Yeah,
struggle with these behavior changes because of the
yeah,
depression. And so it is very challenging to maybe administer more of this food as medicine type way. A lot of times there is like emotional eating and things that come into play. So I think that it's also fascinating to think about as like, not just what is the treatment, but how do we administer this a treatment effectively? And does it need to have different approaches at different levels? Maybe it's like the first month someone's like being provided their meals so that they don't
yeah,
have to make any decisions, and then
yeah.
after that month it's like, okay, now integrate them into actually understanding how to use food as medicine for more of a lifelong type change.